Hey troops, it's Roy from the Geeks Adventures. Woohoo! Broadcasting from the green couch in the Clintonville section of Columbus, Ohio. So today, as I'm kind of fussing around the internet, realized that it's Batman Day. Woo! So, hey, gotta do Batman stuff right. And in light of the giant mess that is the current Henry Cavill situation of, is he fired? Is he not? What's DC gonna do? Does DC have any idea? No, actually, no, I take that back. Does Warner Brothers has any idea what they're doing? Today's Batman Day little podcast. It's gonna be kind of about the relationship between Batman and Superman. And one of the things we're gonna start out with actually is just kind of going over some things that just stuff that I just like over the years. Gonna start with the seminal piece of Batman Superman lore, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Yes, it's the thing that all of us old people talk about a lot till the end of days. If you go poking around the internet, actually, you know what? I can do a whole. Tons of people can do a whole vlogcast about this piece of work. Its impact on the industry, the transformation of things, its influence in film and everything. Yada yada, blah 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 blah. And as you notice, yeah, my copy's a little dog-eared. Why bring this up? Because in the fourth and final issue of this, well, actually, no, he shows up before that. One of the biggest impacts of the story that Frank Miller, Klaus Janson, and Lynn Varley created, is the transformation in the relationship between the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight. Until before this, it was all this warm and fuzzy. You've heard people talk about Super Friends, right? Yeah, and you're thinking, I watched 3 minutes of an episode on YouTube and almost stabbed my eyes. Yeah, it was incredibly corny and blah blah blah. That's just the way it was back then. That all got thrown out the window because of this. All of a sudden, what used to be the warm and fuzzy, hi Superman, hi Batman, turned into something, Darissa bringing up this cliche, a lot darker, a lot more complicated, a lot more bitter and angry, for a long list of reasons. Seriously, you know what? I really should do a whole vlog about this. Which ended up coloring the relationship to this day. Since this book came out in the late '80s, everything changed. Everything changed. Case in point, the first introduction of the Batman-Superman partnership to the animated series was the Batman-Superman movie. This was actually a 3-part story in Superman the Animated Series, World's Finest 1, 2, and 3. No surprise, who ended up bringing these two archetypal characters together, of course, was Luthor and the Joker, which is actually part of the great fun of this story. Tim Daly and Kevin Conroy, of course, being wonderful as the respective superheroes. And, of course, on the flip side, Clancy Brown and Mark Hamill bringing out so much of everything to Lex Luthor and the Joker. And of course, Harley Quinn is in the middle of all this, too. If... yeah, it's tempting to talk smack about Batman v Superman, blah, 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 blah. But all kidding aside, this story was always an amazing story. A great introduction to those two characters. But another way of looking at it, and this is based upon what's it called, World's Finest at the time? There was a kind of World's Finest Batman and Superman comic series for a little while with DC, and one of their first stories was Public Enemies. Jeff Lieb and Ed McGuinness did a story where Luthor's present. Luthor convinces everyone that Superman's a danger, with, of course, Batman going, No, don't think so. And of course, because it's what DC and Warner Brothers animated division does, it got turned into a movie. If at all possible, you do want to read the origin, the hard copy version. The plots are basically the same, and the animated film is wonderful. Because hey, Tim Daly, Kevin Conroy, yes. But also, but in the original comic, what you have is a unique view of the way Superman and Batman see their partnership. The fact they do look at the world in very vastly different ways. The mutual respect they have for each other and the way they operate as a team. It's a lot of fun to read, but you know what? This is also fun as all heck to watch. This is great. So what else we got? Well, this would not be fun if we didn't bring out HeroClix, and you're going, what the heck is that? Well, this HeroClix piece, I believe this is the first time they did it, where if you got so many HeroClix pieces, you could redeem them for a special figure. And this is it, the world's finest, Batman and Superman. What is it? 500 points, I think. Yeah, 500 points. And I mean, yeah, this is like godlike power, etc., etc., etc. I got this when this first came out because I'm a Batman geek. It seemed really cool. I spent way more money than I should have on it. Who knew at the time, right? That no one would care. Well, not that no one would care. I mean, it's not like this thing is $2. But the reason I got it, it just looked cool. A very dynamic, very very dynamic pose for Batman crouching, Superman flying in a nice little bit with the translucent red here for his flying effect with his cape. Do I play? I played for a little while. Mostly though these days I do still collect these just because they look really, really, really cool. And last thing though, action figures. Yay! And I'm doing a little retro thing here. These figures are from the 90s. They are the Total Justice line. Yes, these are old. Limited articulation, yada yada yada. At the time, they were a big deal because, well, the sculpting was something very unique. Um, and the nice thing is that these figures, the armor and all this other silliness, is removable on both of them. See, and you're wondering why does Superman need armor? Because marketing said it was a good idea, and it looks cool though. He's got this chest plate and these little reflector thingies and this giant shieldy thing that's got this kryptonite laser cannon lightsaber thing. I don't know. But yeah, it looks cool. I mean, and honestly, at the time, these were a big deal. This is kind of along the same time. Think of this actually as a reaction actually to the Manga Spawn figures, from a couple weeks ago. Remember, keep looking back a little bit. Higher end work. These figures aren't just generic kind of, we're going to put arms and legs on a piece of plastic called a superhero. No, actual accessories, actual higher level sculpting. And the cool thing is, these are affordable. Yeah, this is like the Mango Spawn figures. This is one of those things where if you were hoping to fund your retirement by keeping them plastic, no. On the other hand, if you want something cool to add to your shelf, they're affordable. Yay! So there you go. Some cool loot for Batman Day and a couple cool things to think about. So hey, I hope the rest of your weekend goes well. May the force be with you. May the odds be in your favor. And as always, be good to each other, peeps. All right, and hey, to y'all in the Carolinas, hope you guys are safe. Please stay dry. Thinking about you guys. All right, later. Peace. Bye.